Tonight on the Black Channel. Well, did I call it or did I call it here? Despite their best efforts to deny reality and rationality, for everybody who thought that the Democrats, after winning a couple of elections or a couple of gubernatorial races, were out of the woods and everything was great. No. They're letting them know that, no, you got issues. You got big issues here. I would like to present to you an article here from CNN. I'd like to present to you an article from CNN, and you don't have to believe me. Believe the Democrats' best friends. They'll tell you about that. And the reason why I want to show this to you, and we got a lot to cover here, so go ahead and lock in. We got a lot to cover here tonight. But this is what they're saying over there. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's just a few select parts we want to get into here. So, from Ron Brownstein, you know, he's a long time political analyst. And it says, for Democrats, few questions may be more consequential than whether they can recover ground among Black and Hispanic voters who move sharply toward President Donald Trump in 2024. So they have been sitting back and they have been trying to act as if they can make some things happen here. They've been trying to sit back and act as if, oh, well, don't worry, we will just ignore Trump's existence and everything will just be fine. We'll just ignore Trump's existence and everything will be fine. And what happens here is that they're trying to convince you of something. And I've been telling you here the whole time. I've been telling you here the whole time to not take your eye off that ball. And don't fall for the hype. They go on to say here that now a new Democratic National Committee analysis, remember they've been burying those lately, but Mr. Brownstein wants to talk about that. A new Democratic National Committee analysis shared exclusively with CNN. So just in case anybody thought that they were okay, they're not. A new analysis shared exclusively with CNN has found that economic concerns overwhelmingly propelled the party's recovery among minority voters in last year's New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial elections. But many voters who turn to the party in 2025 might not do so again in 2026 and 2028. Damn! If they continue feeling financial strain. Quote, Democratic support is not automatic or locked in going forward, end quote, for minority voters, the study concludes. Quote, voters want concrete results they can see in their bank accounts and feel in their quality of life. If Democrats fail to act or cannot prove that the government can be used to improve people's lives, there likely will be backlash, erasing the gains earned in the 2025 campaigns. Did you get that? This is not Jason Black talking. This is not Jason Black talking. This is the Democrats. And if y'all remember, Hakeem Jeffries, they scuttled the review of the 2024 election. Remember, they said they weren't going to release that because they didn't want to hurt their momentum in Virginia and New Jersey and going into 2026. But this is what their internal report is telling them. While he's trying to make it seem like everything's great, this is what the report's really telling them. Trump's historically strong 2024 performance with Black and Latino voters sent shockwaves through the Democratic Party. The new DNC analysis, based on pre- and post-election polling and focus groups, among Black and Latino voters in New Jersey and Virginia is unequivocal in concluding that the party can lastingly reverse that shift only if it restores its own credibility on delivering tangible economic improvements for average families. Quote, it's not that economic concerns and affordability was the number one or most important issue. It was the only issue, said veteran Democratic pollster Fernand Amandi, who helped lead the research project. It's not that economic concerns and affordability was the number one or the most important issue. It was the only issue. It was the only one. That tells you a lot right there. Quote, there was a palpable, look it up. There was a tangible, if you will, sense of financial dread, anxiety. People were literally telling us that they felt they were financially drowning. Their lives were being totally upended by unaffordability. So the Democrats are understanding here that nobody wants to talk. I want you to understand what Mr. Brownstein and the rest of them are not saying here directly for our issues is that we don't want to hear about damn me social justice and LGBT and scholarships and health care. Remember, the old fossils of the civil rights generation sat up here and told you all that what you really want to hear about is health care. We all need to get our diabetes medication. That's the old niggas. And the Democrats love pretending that they are the most important thing because those are fringe issues. And if they can brainwash you into thinking that their problem is your problem, well, next thing you know, yeah, they've hoodwinked you again. So what they're telling you is that what I said going on a decade ago, what we have all been marching for here and beating the drum about, the national media attempted to deny it and deny it and deny it. And it's only once the heat gets so hot and the situation gets so bad that they don't have the luxury of playing dumb anymore. Now they slowly, inch by inch, start conceding, oh yeah, it's not about scholarships or tokenism or, oh, take a look at these 5 black women got elected judge in Texas. And yeah, it ain't about that. Who's your LGBT friend? It's not about that. Well, look, you can get an award at the Golden Globes. Representation. It's not about that. We want to know about our representation at the bank. The money is the only issue. Everything else has been swept off the table and cast to the side. And they attempted to lie and lie and lie, because that's all they do in the corporate media is lie their asses off. They attempted to lie all this damn time. It's only once the ballot box started beating their heads in like a drum, now all of a sudden the Democrats are saying, oh yeah, finance is the only issue. It's not the number one issue. It's issue number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I'm telling you all is that is a game changer when they have to start conceding that there isn't any other issue for us to discuss. And what this article goes in all these circles about here is it's kind of misleading because it makes you think that they're different. They told you that the issue with black voters is about the money. So when they come up talking about MLK and LGBT and college scholarships and student loans, it's like, yeah, if we ain't talking about this financial issue, we have nothing to talk about. So what they're saying is that the only issue for black folk is financial. And if you're not addressing that, you will lose. Your politicians and your candidates, you might be able to squeak by in a couple of places. Short term, you might be able to squeak by, but long term, this is the new normal, is what I'm telling you all. What they're conceding is that, oh, this isn't just them venting. This wasn't a temporary being frustrated. This is the new normal. Now, they've been trying to fight us over this now going on over 20 years. And they're finally breaking down and just surrendering and conceding. Oh, man. Can't do nothing about it there. They could have fixed all this a long time ago, but by the way, their whole goal was to prevent fixing it, which has been the entire point. Let me go ahead and get back to the article here. We're going down to another section that says that according to the exit polls conducted for a consortium of media organizations, including CNN, Trump in 2024 attracted more support among Latinos than any GOP nominee in modern history. Trump ran especially well with Latino men, becoming the first GOP nominee ever to carry most of them in exit polls. Most of them. So for everybody who tried to argue with me a decade ago, 20 years ago, when I said that when they say Latinos, the majority identify as white, and I specifically said that I told everybody that Trump's going to carry Florida. Folks were trying to argue with me. You ain't been to Miami. You ain't been to Orlando. You ain't been to North Miami. You don't know what you're talking about. Latinos, they see themselves, they black like us. Yeah, that's the problem, Jaden. You live down there in Louisiana and y'all black, pro-black Negroes there. Y'all don't understand. It's a different, they don't see themselves. They understand they's black. And then came Florida. By the way, when's the last time any of you heard from the Latinos or know that they're black like us? What? Asking for a friend. By the way, when's the last time you all came across a person talking about, Latinos know that they is really black folks? You used to hear that kind of garbage all the time, remember? You used to hear that garbage all the time. Do you hear it anymore? When's the last time you stumbled across some jackass trying to tell you that? Even the biggest crack pipe baby knows they can't do that anymore. Now, is it that they were dumb back then, or is it that they were so desperate for interracial sexual access that they were going to sell their souls and they would say anything? Was it that they were stupid, or was it that they were really just that dishonest? It goes on to say here, he also displayed formidable strength among Latinos who were younger and or lacked a 4-year college degree, but he improved in virtually every segment of the Latino community. And while the shift wasn't as large, Trump in 2024 also ran better than in 2020 and 2016 with some segments of the black community, particularly younger voters. Damn! 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 Particularly younger voters and men, the exit polls found. Now, Roland, the big fat bowling ball Martin, his whole grift, his whole scam was that if the Democrats would just pay him money up over or under the table, just pay him, just get him some money from somewhere, however you got to do it, that he would deliver the black vote. And then when Joe Biden was running in 2020, Roland Martin had to just break down and say, Joe Biden don't need y'all young folk. He just needs the old people. Those are the only ones come out and vote. Just a couple of short years later, Roland Martin is desperately. I mean, he's at this point right now, he ain't doing nothing but talking to the senior citizens home. There's nobody under the age of 50 who's paying him any attention whatsoever. Because Roland Martin, to show you what a brilliant strategist him and the old dead black media are, they were investing in the old. They weren't even smart enough to know that, by the way, every generation has the same thing. It's not like there's going to be more old people. You better invest in the young if you want to have a future. He said he didn't have to do that. That shows you how brilliant a strategist he is. Well, over here in the new black media, we do things completely differently. So it took a little while for the clock to catch up to him, but it did. And now, what is CNN telling you? That the Democrats are seeing that, by the way, a trend has formed. Let me remind you. I said the same thing last year. I said it in 2024. I will say it again. Donald Trump did not win because he was such a great candidate. He did not win. The Democrats lost. Kamala Harris lost. Joe Biden lost. It wasn't that Trump was so wonderful. It's that the Democrats did so badly. They have turned everyone off. We gave you the keys. You were supposed to deliver. You came with the bull jive. Now your most reliable people, they have started to begun shedding away. Between those who either voted for Trump or did not vote at all. This is a trend, and I have to remind you all of this. This is a trend that began forming after Barack Obama's second term. If you'll all remember, even Roland Martin had to admit this, that this began forming after Obama's second term. What happened after his second term? The murder of Trayvon Martin. After he got reelected, the murder of Trayvon Martin became national news, and the spotlight was on him, and he was exposed for being the blackface of white supremacy that he was and still is. And that's when people started saying enough is enough. They didn't tune into BET anymore, TV One anymore, Bowling Ball Martin anymore. They went looking for something different, and that was truly the beginning of the end for them. And finally, the momentum begins shifting to us. That's when it began. And now, little over a decade later, here we are. They thought we were all going to get disenchanted or worn out or exhausted and all just go home and then they could just return with their bull jive. No, it's not happening that way. And they are telling you that in the black community, segments were breaking away, particularly younger voters and men. So the young that the Democrats, remember the Democrats go to churches where the old folk are. Let's get out our base, get their walkers and their walking canes and their hover rounds. Because all they'll vote for is what they already got. They've already got health care. Well, and we need to vote. Y'all need to quit voting for Trump so I can keep my Medicaid, keep my Medicare, keep my diabetes medication. The old bastards who have their pensions from the plant telling you that you need to vote for their interests, damn yours. There are not as many brain-dead zombies of the younger generation left anymore. But remember where it started. It started here with us not being afraid to say, you got to watch out for these old niggas. And now, the society has fully shifted in that direction. It's no longer forbidden. It's no longer verboten. It is now accepted across the board to have that mentality. After those dramatic losses, the 2025 results in New Jersey and Virginia allowed Democrats to exhale. In both states, Sheryl Sandberg ran much better than Kamala Harris in 2024, and in most cases, the Democratic gubernatorial nominees in 2021. In communities with large Black and or Latino populations, including Newark, Camden, Passaic, and Patterson in New Jersey. But like I say, these are the usual suspects. Richmond, Petersburg, Portsmouth, and Prince William County in Virginia. The usual suspects. So I'm just like, these are things you were supposed to win. You were supposed to win that. The hell are you talking about? You were supposed to win New Jersey. Supposed to win Virginia. They're acting like they're victory that backflip. The exit polls conducted by SRSS for media organizations, including CNN, filled out the picture. They both showed Cheryl and Spanberger winning about 2/3 of Latinos and over 9 in 10 black voters, much better than Harris's national showing just a year earlier. Each nominee recorded very strong numbers, even among the groups where Trump had made his greatest inroads in 2024. Spanberger, for instance, carried over 9 in 10 black voters younger than 30, while Cheryl won over 3/5 of Latino men. The DNC research sought to identify the key factors in that recovery and, as important, whether other Democrats could replicate this in 2026 and 2028. The study closely examined both the messages the campaigns delivered to black and Latino audiences and the mechanisms they used to communicate them. Oh, so they looked at the message and how they communicated it. Interesting. The first broad conclusion from the research was that the campaign tactics and messages succeeded in expanding the Democrats' support in these communities. While many black and Latino voters decided early, the analysts concluded from their pre- and post-election polling that Spanberger and Cheryl each won most of the voters who were initially undecided. The reason why going to the old dead black media is stupid is because everyone who tunes in to Rolling the Bowling Ball and the rest of the old defunct dead black media, they're not undecided. They're blue dog brain dead Democrats. They're not independents. They're not undecided. If they do vote, they're only going to vote Democrat. They're not on the fence. They're not moderates. They're not swing voters. You're preaching to the choir. They're only going to vote one way. If you want to take votes from Trump, none of those people are going to vote for him anyway. They're only going to vote for whoever the Democrat is. So if you got any wisdom about you, that's not where you want to focus yourself. The Democrats did that because they were terrified because, of course, they don't want to deliver anything. They're liars. So their whole job was to see if you can just get the base out, get the base out, get the base out. Spanberger and Cheryl each won most of the voters who were initially undecided. They also concluded that direct contact from the campaigns had notably increased the number of black and Latino voters in each state who showed up to vote. Quote, post-election polling showed the campaigns worked in terms of contacting these cohorts and gaining support, generating enthusiasm, and building confidence in their candidates, the memo concludes. Now, if you all remember, I've been saying this now for over 20 years. The reason why the Republican Party is toxic and radioactive and cannot win any of the black vote is because the few times that they do address black people, they only show up once or twice a decade. They engage Christian evangelicals every week. They engage the Israel lobby every week. They engage the white supremacists every day. But they do not talk to us. So for that reason, you don't speak to us. And when you do show up, it's only once or twice a decade. So nobody trusts you. There is a trust gap, and you know it, and they haven't really focused on fixing that, although it's getting ready to beat their asses too here shortly. But that's what that comes down to, is that, yeah, we don't know you and you don't talk to us, so we don't trust you. And you're going to have to do a lot of work to address that. You're going to have to do a lot of work to fix that. That's not an optional thing. You're going to have to do a lot of work to be able to address that and be able to fix that. And that means you are going to have constant and consistent contact with the audience and the constituency that you have failed to do that with. That is going to be the issue. You are going to have constant, consistent contact, the thing that they have been attempting not to do. That's the thing that they've been attempting not to do. I told you it was not going to work because, hey, you come when election day comes around, yeah, we're going to treat you like you treat us. We don't know you. We don't know you. Now, they go on to say here that the report identifies one factor above all in driving that outcome: the success of Sherrill and Spanberger at convincing minority voters they understood and were determined to address the strains on their living standards. People, we are the only folk. The new black media is the only place that has reminded you all of the WikiLeaks about the Democrats when, in the wake of killing all these black folk across the country, when you have the rise of Black Lives Matter, remember they exposed in their email leak that the Democrats had told their people, do not make any specific promises. The policy of benign neglect. If anybody runs up on you talking about Black Lives Matter or what are you going to do for black people, you are to sympathize with them. You are to empathize. You are to give statements of sympathy, but you are not to make any, not even one specific promise, and do not tell them that you're going to do something. Now, this shows you how devious and demonic the Democrat Party is. You already know the Republicans are the party of Satan, but the Democrats are the party of Beelzebub. This shows you how evil and wicked they are, is that they're sitting right there telling you, yeah, vote for me, and I'm not going to do a damn thing for you. Oh, yeah, and this isn't just one candidate that you caught on an off day saying it. This is party policy. The policy of the party is when black folks show up, you just give statements of sympathy, but we don't do anything for them. Their job is just to vote for us. We ain't got to do a damn thing for them. So that's why this is key in here, that it says that the key to them winning was that they had to convince voters that they understood and were determined to address the actual issue, not statements of sympathy that we all know is bait and switch. Affordability was the dominant issue. Cut the check. The study concludes, the 2025 governor's races in both states were shaped overwhelmingly by one defining reality. The increasingly higher cost of living has become the lens through which voters judge politics, candidates, and their own futures. Not at all what they were hoping to hear. They were hoping that, remember folks, the Democrats were hoping that abortion.
Oh, please.
Remember, Kamala Harris ran on a platform of abortion. And that the biggest issue that you needed to show up for in 2024, you need to show up so that we can discuss abortion. Remember? Remember? We don't need to do nothing for your ass. You just need to show up and vote for us because abortion. Yeah, see, this is why I got to go back to the crates and remind you all and refresh your memories about what people were saying at the time, because Mr. Brownstein is not putting this in its proper context. Oh, is anybody surprised? He's not reminding people that when Kamala Harris ran in 2024, her campaign platform was damn you niggas and your check. Vote for abortion. That was the drum she was beating. Now, is it because she didn't know the issue was economics? Of course not. They wanted to see if they could pull the same con job they had been pulling. It was a golden oldie that always worked. And they were deviously, these demonic bastards were just back to do it again. Yeah, we know your pocket's on E. We know you're economically frozen out. But the real issue is abortion. Now, I want to go a step further with you all right now. I want to go a step further so that I can clarify for you and put in the proper focus what their ideology is surrounding that particular tactic. You got to understand sexual activity is something that happens on a regular basis for most people. It happens on a regular basis. The political parties calculate that your financial issues are something that really strike you heavily on an annual basis. That is really a big issue on an annual basis. But that your sexual practices will be something that's something that may strike you more often. So you see, in order to avoid dealing with this financial issue, find something. Anything that could strike them on a more regular basis, and then tell them, oh, hey, don't forget about this over here. We'll help focus on this over here. So the focus on your sexuality, your sexual practices, health care. Hopefully these will be things that you have problems out of more frequently and think about more than annually. The problem is the economic issue is the daily frequent thing. They were hoping against hope that would not be the case, but no, that is the daily frequent thing. Nobody wants to hear about LGBT, illegal aliens, abortion, or any of this other crap. The media has tried desperately to gaslight the world into thinking, what folks are really concerned about is abortion. Remember, in 2024, CNN and the rest of them were talking about how abortion was the issue. The issue is abortion. Abortion's the issue. And then as soon as the election's over, it's about the economy, stupid. Well, CNN wasn't talking like this in 2024. CNN was right there with the Democrats. Abortion's the issue. Abortion. The real question is, how are the women going to vote? And then after the election, it was all about the men. Yeah, the election was all about the men. Now, how could they not know that? Of course they knew it. Of course they did. They're all working in collusion. And remember, they're not fighting each other. They're fighting you. They have not declared war against each other. They have declared war against you. And they are not trying to defeat the Republicans. They are trying to defeat you. If you're one of their voters. All they're really trying to figure out is how we beat you. How do we stop you? How do we beat you? And I do not want you to be fooled by any of these things. I don't want you to be fooled by any of this stuff you're hearing. That's the thing I don't want you to be fooled by. I want to go a little bit further here because there's something else also that they said in this article here. I want y'all to see that, by the way, they're just beginning to drop the acting stupid. They acted like they didn't know. The media act like they didn't know. Now they're just beginning to drop the acting stupid part. Now they don't want to play dumb anymore. Trump is out there trying to arrest all of them. All of a sudden, now they're not playing stupid anymore. Isn't it amazing? They said, beyond the admonition, look it up. Beyond the warning to keep affordability at the center of their agenda, the DNC report also encouraged candidates to describe voters' financial squeeze in terms that connect to daily life in the most concrete language possible. When these voters talk about their economic challenges, quote, it's not your mortgage, it's your rent. It's not groceries, it's food. It's not utilities, it's heat. It's not health care, it's I can't pay for my pills, said Jill Alper, a Democratic media consultant who worked on the project. So like I say, these media consultants, these folks don't get it. These folks don't get it. So they get paid to say really banal, arcane stuff like you just heard. What folk are looking for is specific language about this is what you're going to do. Donald Trump does a very good job about that. The Democrats could, but of course their job is to hoodwink you and bait and switch, so they begin talking stupid also. Those findings shaped the language of Democrats in both states. In New Jersey, they influenced the way Democrats, from door-to-door canvassers to Cheryl herself, described the economy, said David Perano, the voter contact director for the party's coordinated Get Out the Vote campaign. So they're trying to act like they're learning something. Finally, the report said candidates must offer responses that are as concrete as the anxieties voters feel. It sounds like Bill Clinton now. The research, Amandi said, signals that laundry list plans to address affordability are much less likely to land with voters than a small number of very tangible.
Damn! What? Damn! What? Damn! Damn!
Tangible pledges. Well, where have I heard this word be emphasized over and over again? Now, where have we heard that? Because I haven't heard that on CNN. I haven't heard that on ABC. I haven't heard that on NBC. I haven't heard this in any of those other media outlets. You haven't heard that from the old dead black media. Since when did they start talking about tangibles? When did the media start talking about voters and tangibles? Since when did they start using that word? Where the hell did that come from? This is new. They have not been talking like this the whole time. This is new. Oh man, I wonder what changed. I wonder what changed. Because this is brand new. The research said signals that laundry list plans giving us a whole long list of a bunch of verbs and nouns and adjectives. No, we ain't looking for this right here, Miss Alper. That's less likely to land with voters than simply a very small number of very tangible pledges. In other words, specifics. None of this rising tide lifts all boats. Folks want to hear specifically. Not I feel your pain. They want to know specifically what are you going to do? They're going to say here, such as Cheryl's highly visible promise to freeze utility rates if elected, or Spamberger's pushback against energy-gobbling artificial intelligence facilities. Quote, what emerged from this research was a formula, Amandi said. A formula is what we've been talking about for decades. What they want to know is what is it you want to hear so that they can tell you what you want to hear and then not give it to you. Say whatever it takes to get elected, but then not give it to you. So don't be fooled by this. Oh, well, look, they're actually naming some specifics now. I want you to understand this. They start breaking down slowly. Oh, this is what you want to hear. Okay, well, we can look at that and then, they get in office. Well, it's tough to do things. They give you the Epstein files treatment. It's tough to do things. Hard to do that. Now you see this next part here. No clear edge for 2026. The DNC plans to encourage candidates around the country to employ these approaches in their campaigns this year. House Democrats are already moving in a similar direction and are likely before November, leadership sources say, to propose a short list of priorities that they will pledge to pass if they regain the majority, just as Democrats did in 2006, the 6 for 06, and Republicans did in 1994 with the contract with America. So what the Democrats are saying is, okay, we are going into full overdrive to deliver the trick bag language. Let's just figure out what are the buzzwords here Stay as far away from black empowerment as you can, but use phrases that will deceive somebody into thinking that's what you're talking about, when in reality it isn't. And I want you all to understand that the first thing they're going to say is that, and the first thing we need to do is we need to open back up the borders again, let all the illegals, focus more on LGBT, and of course your access to abortions. All of these things affect your pocketbook, so yeah. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, in a plan he tentatively titled the You Deserve Better agenda, has already previewed that the eventual party blueprint will center on, listen folks, affordability, health care, and corruption. Now, I don't want you to be fooled by any of this garbage that you see on your screen right now, because Mr. Brownstein is doing the Democrats' bidding. He's doing their bidding, because that's what they do. But I don't want you to be fooled by any of that. I don't want you to be fooled by any of that at all. Because what he's talking about is a press release that Hakeem the Dream Jeffries gave out last year in September. He gave that out last year in September. For those of you looking at your screens, you'll be able to see this. When you go to the press release, because here's the press release right here. Leader Jeffries, House Democrats have a simple message for the American people. You deserve better. First thing, today, September 2nd, 2025. This is the agenda that CNN was just referring to. Today, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries held a press conference where he emphasized the Democrats will continue to fight to lower the cost of living, fix our broken health care system.
Nigga, what?
And clean up corruption. That means, we'll go beat up on Trump. Vote for us and we'll be against Trump. We're not going to do anything for you, but vote for us and we'll be against Trump. Vote for us. People, didn't Obamacare already fix healthcare? First of all, didn't Medicaid fix it? And then didn't Medicare fix it? And then didn't Obamacare fix it? Every time we turn around, they're fixing healthcare. Every time we turn around. And that cost of living thing never gets addressed at all. That one doesn't get anything done for any reason. They never make that addressed at all. The lower the cost of living, they're not going to mention one thing about that. No specifics there. I'm going to go right into this right here. I'm going to read this really quickly for you all because I want you to understand I'm not making this up. And by the way, for CNN to talk about this, something that was released months ago, which means we already saw it was bullcrap months ago, but CNN is resurrecting it as if it's still relevant, as if this is something new. So they're talking about this in 2026 as if they've got some new analysis of the Democrats. And yet back in September, before them folks were elected, I believe, this is what they were saying. So this, what you see on your screen here, was CNN was just talking about from Hakeem Jeffries. Well, this right here can't be in response to those gubernatorial elections. This can't be something that they figured out after that. This is what they were already doing, which means to bring it up now, this isn't some new revelation. This is the same old song and dance. It says here that House Democrats had a very active August district work period. We held more than 1,000 different events all across the country, interacting with everyday Americans who we are privileged to represent. We talked about the economy. We talked about healthcare. I'm sure you brought up healthcare. I'm sure nobody asked about it. You just brought it up. And we talked about cleaning up corruption here in Washington, D.C. In this great country,
nigga, please.
America has become far too expensive. The cost of living is way too high. So they put this in bold print. Donald Trump and House Republicans repeatedly promised to lower the cost of living on day one. They have failed. Costs aren't going down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. Electricity bills are skyrocketing. Everyday Americans are being hit with increased healthcare premiums, co-pays, deductibles, and prescription drug prices. Do you see how long that went on right there? I want y'all to understand that. These are the devious bastards that CNN's trying to run interference for. They mentioned all these other things real short, and look at how long he drug out about quote-unquote health care. Costs aren't going down. Inflation is going up. Electricity bills are skyrocketing. Everyday Americans are being hit with increased health care premiums, co-pays, deductibles, and prescription drug prices. So that shows you what he's focusing on. Vote for us and we'll do some old bull crap for Medicare and Medicaid. All this other stuff you really care about, yeah, that's smoke screen. Housing costs have not gone down. They continue to go up. Yeah, it went up on you guys' watch. It went up on your watch. Once again, folks, the one big ugly bill remains deeply unpopular. In town hall meeting after town hall meeting after town hall meeting, Hakeem Jeffries needs to be banished. House Republicans were unable to defend their signature so-called legislative accomplishment because it turns out they're ripping health care away from millions of Americans, ending Medicaid as we know it, closing hospitals, shutting down nursing homes, forcing folks, this is all they're going to offer is, hey, elect us and we'll go back to playing ping pong about health care. We've been playing ping pong with it for 4 decades. Vote for us so we can go back to playing ping pong about health care. Yeah, after all of this, what he's telling you is that, yeah, vote for us so we can get back to the same old song and dance and the same old lies. Democrats are going to make health care and other high costs, the high cost of living, the number one issue for all of 2026, Schumer declared last week. Folks, do any of you feel that the Democrats have changed any of their focus? Do you think they've changed the topic or changed their priorities 1 inch? The challenge for Democrats is that the surge of inflation under former President Joe Biden severely damaged the public's confidence in the party's ability to manage the economy. Diminishing public confidence in Trump's performance has allowed Democrats to erase the large advantage the GOP enjoyed on handling the economy when he regained office last January. But even among the minority voters who have traditionally been a cornerstone of the party's electoral base, minority voters, Brownstein, excuse me, minorities, there's only one minority. But then again, the mainstream media, they lied. Okay, you all got it. The DNC's news research indicates Democrats have only started to restore their own economic credibility.
Lie.
No, they have not. It's not because the Democrats are doing great. They're not in office to do great. Nobody sees them doing anything worth voting for. The only reason that this is happening is because, as I said, the Democrats are just hoping that Trump does what he did in 2016, that he just does such a terrible job that the Democrats will just win again by default because they're the lesser of the two evils. This is the whole strategy they got. Well, hey, we're terrible, but Trump is catastrophic. Vote for terrible. Not vote for better, vote for terrible. This is what they're pulling. Now, I want to go a little bit further into this with you all here right now because this is the part that doesn't show up anywhere else. The next thing we're going to get into is the part that doesn't show up anywhere else. Folks, you are having a financial issue. You are having a cash crunch. You are having trouble paying for your housing for the few of you who can actually get housing. Because if you're a millennial or younger, you're just screwed. Gen X is barely holding on by their fingertips. If you're a millennial or younger, you're just kind of screwed. So I want you to understand, financially, you are catching the beats. And the Democrats have not given a damn about what's happening to you. And I'm not saying that as hyperbole. They don't give a damn what's happening to you because please understand, you might be having trouble paying for your bills, and you might have trouble paying for your first starter home. But fear not. Why? Kamala Harris just went and grabbed another $1 million mansion in California.
Damn!
Oh yes, what you see on your screens, your Humpty eyes do not deceive you. This is just from a couple of days ago. This is just from a couple of days ago. Kamala Harris upgrades LA real estate portfolio. She upgrades her LA real estate portfolio with a $8 million mega mansion in Malibu's celebrity-packed Point Dume. That's right. You see, her and Joe Biden may have destroyed your finances. Her and Joe Biden shot your costs through the roof. But her and Doug are sitting back living the life. Everything's sweet with them. Why, you're hurting in this economy. She's off buying another mansion. And not just that, she's buying one, in California in the middle of the action. Kamala Harris is sitting back feeling the cool breeze. You're feeling the heat, and she can't do anything for you. Just remember that. She can't do a damn thing for you. There's nothing she can do for you. Rising tide lift all boats. Until then, you got to lump it. But she's doing great, folks. This is not 2025, people. We're still in January 2026. And this is what she's doing. Now, this is what she got going on. Now, today, while they're telling you about what's not needed and not necessary, they're telling you they sympathize with you, but they ain't offering a damn thing for you. I'm going to read a little bit from the article here because I don't want your blood pressure to spike too much, people. I don't want your blood pressure to spike too much. Don't want it to spike too much on you here, but former Vice President Kamala Harris is upgrading her Los Angeles real estate portfolio, trading one celebrity-soaked neighborhood for another. Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff, recently dropped a little over $8 million, because it wasn't just $8 million, it was $8.15 million, on a 4,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 6-bathroom home in Point Dume, a neighborhood in Malibu that's home to a who's who of both Hollywood and, more recently, Silicon Valley power players, the California Post has learned. People, we're talking about two folk, what are they, in their 60s? What the hell do they need with a 4,000 square, a new 4,000 square foot? What do they need with that, folks? You know, as folks get older, they want to downsize their houses. This woman's in her 60s. What do a couple of 60-somethings need with a 4,000 square foot mansion in their 60s? This isn't something they already had. This isn't where they're raising their family. Kamala ain't got no kids, biologically. She doesn't have any children. What's that for? It's not for raising a family. So other than living in that neighborhood, what is that for? What's the utility? What's the point? What's the advantage of that? Because that doesn't seem to make a bunch of sense. Which means, of course, it makes perfect sense. The article goes on to say here that in recent weeks, several Point Dume residents have spotted Imhoff strolling through the neighborhood, with Secret Service, I'm sure, which rests on a 63-acre promontory.
Damn!
Perched above one of California's most famous and exclusive beaches known as Little Dume. Folks, this heifer here has gone off and bought a house on 63 acres. 63 acres in Malibu, California. Not off in Abilene, Texas. Not some place like that where the cost per acre is not very bad. It's 63 acres in Malibu. Did you even know that there were 63 acres available in Malibu? Did you even know that there was a 63-acre plot of land available? In the chat room, Mr. Githwa said that she got her 40 acres and then some.
Damn!
Yeah, while she couldn't even remember how many acres we were supposed to get. She not like us. She couldn't remember how many acres we supposed to get, but she went and took care of hers for Doug's children, because she doesn't have any of her own. For Doug's kids, Doug made sure they're okay. Now, listen to this next part. Access to Little Dume, which boasts one of the most coveted surf breaks in all of California, requires a special key that only a select group of Point Dume residents can possess. So basically, she's bought $8 million house to have their own private beach, and they apparently got the law set up so that, it's a private beach, you can't get on it. So Kamala Harris is going to have her own private beach. If you all want to know what these politicians get as compensation for selling you the hell out, this is what they get. They get this. You've all seen the pictures of Joe Biden sitting his senile ass on the beach after losing the election. Yeah, this is what they get, people. Whether they win or whether they lose. If they win the election, they win big. If they lose, they win a little smaller. But if they get into office, this is what they get. If we ever do an investigation, we will see that this is money being given to them by private interests that they benefited while they were in office. And this is what they get. This is what they get for selling everyone else out. They go on to say here that while much of Malibu remains devastated by the 1-2 punch of the 2018 Woolsey fire and the 2025 Palisades fire, Point Dume is in relatively good shape compared to other parts of Malibu. And she took care of herself, didn't she? Took care of herself. The neighborhood has long been one of the more desirable and expensive zip codes due to its large lots and the privacy it provides, which has attracted a parade of A-list actors over the years, including Sean Penn, Gerard Butler, and Julia Roberts. In recent years, the glitterati of Hollywood have had to make way for the titans of Silicon Valley, including venture capitalist Mark Andreessen, Google co-founder Sergey Brin, and Emerson Collective president Laurene Powell Jobs, who have been snatching up many of the area's trophy properties. Folks, these are fabulously wealthy people, and this is their 7th or 8th home. They got 7 and 8 houses. Remember, Mitt Romney had 10 or 12 houses. You want to know why it is that your land prices have gone through the roof? You want to know why it's so expensive? Because when you got folk like this who are willing to drop 10, 20, 50, $100 million on a house, they buy it up by the dozens of acres. They buy up dozens and hundreds of acres, and not even out in the wilderness somewhere. They buy it right in the middle of town. So of course this detonates the prices for everyone else. And they've been doing this for decades while they're sitting up here talking about these AI data centers. What about what these folk here been doing forever? They're going to say here that Harris was born and raised in Northern California, somewhat, but has made LA her primary residence ever since she married Imhoff in 2014. She married Imhoff in 2014. Okay. Why is it I felt like they were married longer than that? So she basically caught that ticket to ride because she was going to run for president. So she basically married Doug so she would have a beard so she could run for president. So, yeah, because I thought they were married longer than that. It's like, oh no, she married him right before gearing up to run for president. Let me get in the Senate. Let me get Doug. Let me get in the Senate. And yeah, let me do that real quick. I guess being Mayor Willie Brown's side piece was not credentials enough. So yeah, them two ain't been riding and dying like that for that long. It's like, no, she needed somebody. She needed somebody. So she made that work out, and he didn't have to have any kids with her, so he's scot-free. Now, listen to this next part. They share a 4-bedroom, 3,500 square foot home in Brentwood.
Damn!
Shout out OJ. According to the Wall Street Journal, Imhoff bought back in 2012 before he met Harris. You can see on your screens from the article, before he met her. Well, so they're in a 3,500 square foot home in Brentwood, but Dougie is the one got that one. The status of that house is unclear. According to an online listing, Harris and Imhoff's new home was originally built in 1979, sits on 3/4 of an acre, and has a main living area that's bathed in natural light. Okay, so I'm not sure about the 64 acres before, but I will tell you $8 million, whichever one it is there. That's rich enough. So yeah, all kinds of details you find out here. Yeah, well, the house they're in now, that's Doug's house. Doug got that before he even met you. So in other words, she had to come up. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, folks, Kamala Harris has gotten herself together. She has gotten herself together, man. She's sitting pretty. She's like, me and Doug, man, we got ours. Damn you if you ain't got yours. Somebody in the chat room says she married her APAC handler.
Auntie, chill.
You said the quiet part out loud. You said the quiet part out loud. Yeah, what happens on the internet when you say the quiet part out loud? Yeah, Kamala Harris been in the tank. She been in the tank, man. You're not going to get around that. It is what it is. She been in the tank for him. Now, you know me. I'm just sitting back. I'm minding my own business. I'm posting like I do. And me, I don't really dwell on things very long, especially when it comes to Twitter. I just post something and then I run on. I don't just sit there all day. But apparently some folks did not like what I said. Apparently I was over there trending or something. And I didn't even know. I'm going to need y'all to let me know next time I'm trending or something and I don't even know about it. Because I posted about this on Twitter. Kamala Harris on January 15th. 9 visionary women at Howard University established a sisterhood that has changed the lives of countless women, including me. And for 118 years, we have continued to lead around the world with purpose and in service to all mankind. Happy Founders Day. Happy Founders Day. So there she is, kind of front and center. All right. And I said, Kamala is back to trying to polish those black credentials again. She's making good on her threat to run again in 2028. Now, unbeknownst to me, apparently I've gotten 192,000 views and almost a couple hundred comments, and oh man. Oh boy, all the ski-wee hoes and all the little moist soggy niggas, all the Mark Lamont Hill, soggy moist Qs and whatnot, they showing up. Oh, they're unhappy about this. And oh, they're unhappy, boy. They mad as hell. It's Founders Day. Damn you. There must be a white man over here. You is hating here. You must work for Trump. So, yeah. Oh, they're upset, boy. They are mad. I mean, they big mad. Oh, they are mad as hell over here. Mad as hell at me. It's like, is there something I said? Oh, boy, they're out they damn minds. They're just livid with it. They're just falling apart, man. They're going nuts. They are going nuts over here. So I can keep going, but I think you all get the point. So why didn't you all tell me that Kamala Harris's ass-kissing flunkies found their way to my Twitter and they are crashing all the way out? Why didn't you? Nobody told me that they're over here crashing out. Oh, they're over here going nuts. Somebody, I must have triggered somebody. There must be somebody with a kind of bigger following. Either that or a bunch of the folks, they went to this picture and they just looked at whoever was reposting it. And then they all just saw mine. And they just came unglued. They went insane. Oh man, they went insane with it. They just could not stand it. They couldn't take it. They saw it and said, man, damn this here. We gonna crash all the damn way out. That's what they did. Man, why didn't you all tell me that this was going on? Because I don't go back and check this stuff, man. If I post it, I might check it once that day. I'm not coming back and monitoring it every other day to see what's happening. I don't know. So I might have went trending a bunch of times and just never saw it. I don't look at that. I don't look at notifications. I don't look at replies. So Elon Musk could have replied to me and I probably wouldn't know if you all didn't tell me. I don't just sit on the damn internet all evening watching things. I know there's still some folk who do that, but I don't just sit around all day. Let me check my replies. Let me check my mentions. Let me check my ads. I'm not that guy. I'm not. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jackson could have me in his mentions. What? And I wouldn't know. Michael Jackson could have replied to me, and I would not be aware. If you all don't tell me, I'm probably not going to hear about it. However, it goes beyond that. You see, I'm very happy. I'm very glad that these individuals are showing themselves here. I'm very glad that they're doing that because there's things for us to learn. First of all, there were a fair number of foreign flags in the group. There's a fair number of foreign flags in the group. So that's the first thing. When you go down through here and stuff, you'll see a fair number of foreign flags sticking out. Not always out here where you can see it. In a lot of cases, you have to go to their profiles and you can see them. But in case any of you were wondering, there's a fair amount of foreign flags that were hanging out in here. And that will shock and surprise no one. The issue here is I want you to be clear about something here. And I want to say this in no unequivocal terms. To hell with the sororities and the fraternities.
And deal with it, nigga.
They can go to hell. they can go to hell on a hot dog bun. I would like to say that you've done nothing. I would like to be charitable enough to say that you can go to hell because you've done nothing for us. But you see, saying that you've done nothing would actually be far too charitable and far too generous. Oh, you've done plenty. The boule and the fraternities and your knockoff whack-ass pseudo secret societies. Yeah, I wish the problem was you did nothing. I wish that's as bad as it was. But in reality, oh no, you have done something. You've been doing something for a while. You should be ashamed to tell anybody that you're a member of any of these ass-out clown groups. You should be ashamed to do that. You don't have anything to brag about. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Everybody else's civic organizations and secret societies actually got something popping. You can't show where the Divine Nine have gotten a damn thing going. You can't show where the sorors got a damn thing going. At least in white society, the Daughters of the Confederacy could get up some monuments.
Oh, please.
I don't know what you wannabe bedwenching Negro sluts over here are trying to brag on. You all have nothing you can point to. You don't have any accomplishments whatsoever other than increasing the amount of sexually transmissible diseases in Atlanta. You haven't actually achieved anything. Other than increasing the available number of strippers and OnlyFans chicks, you all haven't actually done anything. That's your only real accomplishment. Increasing the available number of sluts, single moms, OnlyFans creators, and of course, spiking the STD rates in Atlanta and Chicago and DC. Well, you've accomplished that. That you did do. You literally can't point to anything else. There's literally nothing you can point to. I'm going to open up the lines. You can call us and tell us what of any significance or importance you have achieved. Because at least the Daughters of the Confederacy were trolling us with their monuments from sea to shining sea. But can we just keep it on the bricks, everybody? I ain't gonna play nothing with you here. Let's just keep it on the bricks. These sororities and fraternities are LGBT hangouts.
Damn!
It is what it is, what it is. I need to just go ahead and say that right quick. I'm not gonna bull jive around about it. I don't want nobody sitting up here getting sassy in my comment section or whatever. You can't clap back on that, nigga. These sororities and fraternities, we need to quit playing about this and playing dumb. No, these are LGBT kick it spots. This is what it is. Right now, if I told you all to name 10 females in a sorority, you know damn well at least half of them are confirmed have had a sexual experience with another female. And you know it. And you know it. So no, with the Noops and all the rest of them sitting up here booty dancing on each other, shout out Mark Lamont Hill. All these fellas up here getting oiled up and pulling their pants down so that you can feel the fella behind you. Let me just keep it there. Yeah, if ain't nobody else gonna just come on out with it and say it, now that your humpty eyes don't deceive you. This is for all the moist dudes and all the stiff broads. This is their little place to hang out and get together. And then when that goes bad, because inevitably it will, let me go see if I can go grab me a white man. Let me see if I can go get me a white man. Because that's what they're all really there for. after they finished getting slutted out and smeared across the city. I mean, smeared like slime across the city. Next thing you know, they see if they can go scramble for, let me go see if there's a white man available. Oh, damn, Kamala got Doug. And it's like, yeah, he ain't even a catch. He ain't nothing you can brag about. So it's, damn, well, Doug gone. It should not surprise you all that these sororities and white ass kissing go hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. And for the fellas, they don't want to talk about that. For you dudes, hey, look, bro, you can't come for me about your damn fraternity. We just need to call it for what it is. You can't have that many black males get together and they're all that enthusiastic, and can't a damn one of you, none of you can tell us what you have accomplished of any significance. But you all are damn, I mean, remember with Roland Martin and them, the fella had a damn paddle on the wall?
Nigga, what?
Remember that, folks? Yeah, y'all remember that? On my program here, remember I pointed out about the fella, Roland was talking to him, and his frat brother and dude got a whole damn paddle up on the wall. Not a plaque, a paddle. Hey, we see what the hell y'all doing. We see what the hell y'all doing. Yeah, y'all remember, I'm not making it up. That was a real paddle, a real wooden paddle. Now tell me what the hell you going over to that nigga house for. I want to know what's going on at his house that you need to go there after sundown. If you ever tell me you need to see one of your frat brothers after sundown, I'm like, okay, does he have a paddle? Oh, yeah, I mean, we all got paddles. Okay. And you going after dark. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, y'all, look, just after Jeffrey Epstein, there's no excuse for any of you playing dumb anymore. Hey, folks, we are in the post-Jeffrey Epstein era. If you play dumb when you got this many clues dropping on you and you're still playing dumb, all I'm just going to say is either your mama dropped you on your head 3 or 4 times or you in it doing it with them.
Damn!
That's the only way you could still be playing dumb today in the post-Jeffrey Epstein eras. Either you just got brain damage or you over there doing it with them. Y'all know the code now. We don't talk about Spank Club now. We don't talk about Spank Club. We don't do that. I'm just telling y'all right now, I'm like some of y'all here. It's like, ain't no way in the hell I can join no damn fraternity. Soon as I see that damn booty line dancing, I'm like, okay, let me go see if I can go get me an Amex. Yeah, I don't think I got what it takes to join y'all's little club over here. Oh, I'm seeing a bunch of niggas twerking on each other. Okay, yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I got the right stuff. I don't think I'm built for this. I don't think I got what it takes to be a nuke man. If this is what being a Q, if this is what it takes to be a Q, yeah, I ain't got it. Whatever y'all need, whatever you're looking for, I ain't got it. I ain't got a pair of pants that come down that low.
What? Damn!
Auntie, chill.
Yeah, nigga, I wear a belt. I ain't got no pants can shimmy down that low. Matter of fact, I don't think I got anything in my wardrobe can shimmy down that low. So I got a belt. So if anybody sees, the only way that can happen is sexual assault. So I ain't got it. No, I don't have the attire to do this. I can't see it occurring. And especially with dudes like right up on you, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, nigga, you don't feel a draft?
And deal with it.
Wait a minute now. You got Carlos behind you and Devontae in front of you. Nigga, you don't feel a draft? You don't edge your draws down and you don't feel a draft up in here? Cause that's me. That's me right there. I'm like, oh no. It's no, you are too close. You are too CLOSE to me. Got a bunch of dudes sitting up here line dancing. They all looking at you, and then they loud and breathing on the back of your neck. I'm like, oh no, I got to get out of line. I know I can't sit here. You can't tell they testing you out? Come on now. So you can't tell that they sizing you up to see just how much of this you gonna put up with. So you can't tell. You can't tell, right? Okay. So it's just Jason. I'm just making this up. If you went to high school graduation and you saw them boys on the football team doing that, you'd be like, oh, hell, get my son out of Epstein Island over here. Bunch of grown men doing it then. Well, you know, we got tradition. I see. You got a booty tradition. Yeah, I can't do it. No, I cannot do it. I would like to cancel my application. I would like to revoke my application. Yes, sir. Whatever y'all doing, I guess I'm never going to find out what y'all building because I'm not going to be here long enough for it. So, yeah, I don't want to see what the super secret handshake is.
Damn!
Oh, if this is the super secret dance, I damn sure don't want to see the super secret handshake. Yeah, let me go ahead and just carry on about my business. Let me see if I can get me an American Express Black Card. Let me get one of those. And y'all can keep your little man cabaret dance you got going on. You can have that. People, I want to say something here. Now, I know it seems like I'm being very humorous right now, and I get it. I understand that. I need you to understand. I'm not playing. The stuff I'm saying may sound outlandish. The stuff that I'm saying may sound outrageous. But, oh yeah, one more thing. I'm not joking. I meant every word I just said dead seriously until proven otherwise. There's no way in the world you look at that and it's like, hey, wait a minute, where there's smoke, there's sagging. You can't have these kind of epic levels of foolery and it's all accidental. That's not the way that works. It's not the way that works. So if you all want to know what these people get, and if you want to know what the payoff is that they receive for what they've done for selling you out, if you want to know what it is, some of them might get a little old penny in the ass TV deal. Mark Lamont Hill been chasing it forever. Then again, for others, Kamala Harris, if you lose the race for president, we'll go ahead and get you an $8 million mansion. And then for some of you, Jeff Bezos may show up with a check for $100 million. So I need you all to understand that selling people out pays. Oh man, if you're mobbed up with the right folks, selling them out pays. It pays. And then they come and tell you what they can't do for you. Now, she living lavish. Even though all the body parts that used to get her plenty of attention 4 decades ago, none of them are sitting where they were, but she gonna make sure that when she leaves this world, she leaving lavish. She doesn't even have any children to pass it down to. Do you understand what an abomination this is? She doesn't even have any children to pass this down to. Now, Doug does. Now, one thing, Doug has it. Doug has heirs. Kamala Harris does not. Kamala Harris has helped Doug get into a whole new tax bracket. Kamala Harris is sitting up here grabbing assets in the last trimester of her life, and she doesn't even have heirs to give it to. So what's the real motive? She's like, damn, y'all, it's always been about her. Always been about her. As far as she's concerned, it's going to stay about her. It's going to stay about her. I'm just trying to do my job to let you all know that going forward here, what they are doing now is the Democrat Party is saying that they understand, but then again, they've always understood what they were doing wrong. And what they're telling you is that they intend to double down on the bait and switch language tactics. They're just going to see if they can find a new spin they can put on it that sounds like, okay, we'll more directly address your concerns and issues. And then they're letting you know, by the way, we're going to directly address it on our way to sidestepping it. Well, yeah, we're going to say the specific issues and problems you're having on our way to doing nothing. And why should they? People, Kamala Harris has made sure. Do you think she gives a damn about an electric bill? Do you think that Kamala Harris's electric bill is stressing her? To any idiot jackass talking about voting for her, by the way, does she look like she's hurting? Does she look like she took it on the chin? Man, look here. Does she look like she's worried about property taxes? You're talking about your mortgage and your HOA fees. And does she look like she's worried about housing, property taxes, electric bill, HOA? She went to go find the most expensive damn HOA she could. And this is after, quote unquote, losing the race for president. And then again, Barack and Michelle Obama are right there with her. At least Donald Trump swindled his money before he got in office.
Damn!
These folk here got you to vote for him and then swindled it out of you after they got in office. At least Trump swindled his beforehand. At least he did his beforehand. However, you might disagree. There's somebody named Tamif in the chat room, so Tamif is going to be invited to give us a call up here on Zoom. There's the link to the Zoom. So we're going to go ahead and get Tamif on Zoom so they can go ahead and explain to everybody about what I am not correct about. They say that I am not correct. I'm very glad to hear that. We're going to go ahead and get you on Zoom so you can explain to the world about why exactly it is, what exactly it is that I am in error about. So we'll give you 2 minutes here to get on Zoom so you can go ahead and explain that to all of us here. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Mr. McLean. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. To DMV Nation, Josiah Starr, Logic Before Emotion, my man Mr. Richburg. Thank you all very much for your support here tonight. To Keenan, Kelvin, and everybody else here. Glennis, thank you all very much for your support. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and take some of your calls here on Zoom. This is the Black Channel.
Knowledge on the block, got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the gains. Used to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the lines for the Zoom are now open here. The Democrats, the folks are letting them know that they got to do something about that black vote. And the Democrats have decided, well, we'll see if we can talk about more tangible issues, but not the ones you really want to talk about. So just remember, they're not going to. One loss is not going to be enough, folks. They're really just wanting to get back to the same old song and dance, the same old smoke and mirrors. Let's see if we can hoodwink you. Let's see if we can reel you in. And then, well, we didn't say we was going to do nothing about that right there. I mean, we were really going to do it. All right, let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. Let's see if we can get Brother Shakir up here on Zoom. All right, Shakir, what's on your mind?
Hi, Jason. It's good to talk to you again. I've listened to you harangue about the legal class, the political class, and now the sororities and fraternities, and you've even spoken about people acting dumb. Well, I'd like to say that Black people, if they haven't already done it, what they need to do in order not so they'll never be able to act dumb again is go to YouTube and A Letter to Black America by Fred Price. If they go to that on YouTube, that is the most moving speech that delineates our position in the United States. I'm sure you've heard it. You've heard it, haven't you?
Yes, brother. And the real thing is there's nobody who doesn't know. I need you all to understand that. There isn't anybody who doesn't know. The folks sitting up here spazzing out on my post about Kamala Harris, Roland Martin, whoever. Brother, everybody knows. The only question now is who gonna stand 10 toes down and who's gonna start compromising and equivocating, because in reality they have some other agenda. But it's really not a get everybody on the same page thing. Everybody already knows, man. I need y'all to understand that there's just those who know and those who play dumb because they have some other agenda. Case in point, go name your favorite rapper talking about they ain't really black. Looking at you, ASAP, Lil Wayne, we can go down the list. The folks there that kind of back off and start coon dancing and buck dancing a little bit there. And what do you find out? It's like, oh, I'll be damned. They're chasing interracial sexual access. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they don't know. And it's not that they don't know everything you're talking about. They know it. They have another agenda.
And you haven't addressed this, but if you have any thoughts on this thing that happened between Anton Daniels and Corey.
Okay, well, thank you very much for giving us a call. That is off topic. Let's see if we can get Charles up here on Zoom. Let's see if we can get Charles up here on Zoom. All right, Charles, what's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? It's all these this is another thing that one of our grand teachers, Malcolm X, told us that these celebrities will lead us to disaster. And I think that lesson has been forgotten and by a lot of folks. But I think it's slowly but surely, thanks to people like you and your voices out there, being reminded of that, reminded of the these they're not leaders, they're puppets. And, puppeting and leading people to a very, leading them to lose their homes, lose their wealth, and lose their stuff that can leave for their kids to, people buying these mansions and these beaches for what? For their own little weird stuff they do. So
Yeah, I mean that's why everything's got to be a big house and a big palatial estate and armed security and stuff like that. And then later you find out all these folk have miniature Epstein Islands, basically. That's what you find out. Diddy was way before Epstein. Well, actually, Epstein was way before Diddy. But yeah, I mean, and we've had those rumors about Oprah for decades. So yeah, everything is about when y'all show up. Don't nobody talk about it here and whatnot. And yeah, because what turns them on sexually is way more extreme than anything you're used to doing.
yeah, and for right now, there's no consequence for that. There's no consequence for these people to really, to stop this behavior. And until there is, they're going to continue to do it.
Well, that's going to be kind of rough, though. But go ahead. I'll explain to you here in a few moments here why that's going to be rough.
Oh, well, and remember that Epstein was a part of intelligence. So it's not just the celebrities. It is the people in local, state, federal, all these type of governments as well. So you got to keep your head on a swivel of who you vote for and, these celebrities as well. So
I want you all to understand how far these things go. Well, hang around for just a moment here, Charles, because I want to. There's something I want to elucidate for you here, if I may use that nomenclature. I want y'all to understand something here. There's a reason why you have a Ben Shapiro telling you it don't matter what's in the Epstein files and the Dan Bongino and the rest of this. There's a reason why they're talking to you like that. I think that a lot of people are just now, because now there's no wiggle room to you get around it or avoid it or deny it. Folks are having to just admit, hey, how can they not see this? They do see it. They do. Take a look at my post about Kamala Harris. Brother, they know what Kamala Harris been doing. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about Epstein or whatever and some of the depraved, degenerate stuff, I need you all to accept a reality. This is not me being excessive, exaggerating, being hyperbolic. That's not what I'm doing. This is real. I need you all to understand that these folks who come here defending these people who are so obviously corrupted, y'all need to understand they are cut from the same cloth. Do y'all understand that? That's not accidental. That's why I meant when I said if they're in a sorority, hey, they done met the Epstein folk. If she is in a sorority, folks, she done met the Epstein people. If your chick is in a sorority or has been in one, she done did some slave play with some white men. Especially if they're in a large city. If she been in a soror, she done did the get down with a bunch of white boys in college. She was at the black college, and yet the white college students can tell you what your chick looked like naked. All of them are there to get their hat. All of them are there to get their pass. All of them are there to get their card punched. That's the norm. That's not the exception. That is the rule. So Epstein and everything that go with it. Epstein and everything that go with it. The Diddy parties and everything that go with it. Will Smith and Jada and everything that go with it. Oprah and everything that go with it. In the comment sections, these people aren't just triggered because they don't like it. They're upset because, yeah, they do the same thing. Or they wish they could. What? They do all this stuff they damn selves, or they wish they could. Have you all considered that the disturbing number of people who are not as upset about some of these things as they should be, it isn't because they're ignorant. I'm telling y'all, this is the 21st century, people. You can't get away from information anymore. It can't be because they're ignorant. Have you all considered this because they are participants or they wish they could be? And that's the real reason. So, brother, you're right. The celebrities are an issue. The celebrities have always been an issue. The celebrity class has summarily been a traitor class, period. But, yeah, among that rank and file, they wish they could be part of the traitor class. They would like to be they'd like to be in a hot tub with Jeffrey Epstein and whatever flavor of females he brings with him. Whatever he brings with him. And I'm talking about for the men and the women, by the way. So don't just go one way. I want y'all to understand, these folk who sitting up here caping like that, I wish I could say it was just ignorance, but no. No, this is a disease across the society. There are those of us fighting it, and then there's this other part of the society. A little disturbing, a little dark. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Yeah, when you got these folk out here, and I can't make it as simple as somebody in the family was touching on them, because for some of these folks here, they come from backgrounds and from lineages where folks get introduced to sexual activity early. Yeah, that age limit that you have on the books in the States, a lot of these folk come from places or from backgrounds where that age thing is just a suggestion. It's not really the law at their house. It's not really a law on the books at their house. That's just a suggestion that is generally ignored. So by the time you meet these chicks in college, man, look here. They done slept with 7 or 8 grown men by the time you get to them in college. And then next thing you know, they're running for office. Now, isn't that interesting? Very ominous career path there, ain't it? Next thing you know, they're running straight for office. If you had more details about some of this, about what they did and who it was with, maybe some of this other stuff, it makes sense. After all, maybe they slept with somebody who told them, you know what? You're so good in bed, you should be city councilwoman.
Damn!
And then when you keep following them, you find out it's the same thing. People, have y'all heard about this story about Kristen Sinema? The Democrats were so upset about former Senator Sinema. They were so upset about her. And what do you find out? I'll be damned. Just like Lauren Boebert, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, just like Ilhan Omar, just like Nancy Mace, just like Kamala Harris, well, I'll be damned. Kirsten Sinema is getting sued because she was sleeping with some chick's husband. And, oh, man, it seemed to me that, you know, these females in politics, you can't really make it if you ain't hustling them draws. Isn't this amazing? Now take a look at the list I just ran down for you, and that's not the whole damn list. Y'all know that. That's not the whole damn list. It's pretty much everybody. Look here. If they get in politics under the age of 30, they've been hustling them draws. You find out they doing all kinds of sex stuff with all kinds of people out here, man. Yeah, it's only when somebody gets mad that they're going to drop the dime. You don't get any real evidence of it till somebody gets mad at them and then they drop the dime. Then you find out. But right up until then, anybody saying nothing? Nobody's saying anything. The media follows these people around. You know, CNN knows this, damn it. Yeah, they don't say anything about it. It's only if somebody drops the dime on them, then you find out. Jeffrey Epstein was running around with presidents and corporate heads and everything, damn thing. And it wasn't until the girls started talking in Florida that the dam broke. Yeah, the media is in on the cover up with them. Y'all know that. So just understand what you're really dealing with. These people, there's a bunch of folk out here in society sitting next to y'all who wish they could take a trip to Epstein Island. Sitting in your comment section defending these folk. Yeah, they're only mad because they haven't had their trip. They got their ticket to go. All right, let's get back over here on Zoom again. I got my man Huey on Zoom. What's on your mind, Huey?
Not much, brother. Wonderful broadcast as always. At this point, whatever the Democrat has to say to us, it's going to fall on deaf ears, to be honest with you. When I look at when they're not in power, Jason, I see that they're doing a lot for everybody else. You got the Somalis with the leering community centers. You got them smuggling money out of the United States that they have a hand in. They also have a hand in all the stuff going on in Chicago with the whole charging black folks a bunch of money for freaking property and stuff. And these are states that they control and they can do something about. And that's my biggest issue with them. They say that they're better than the Republicans, but in another way, they are basically the same as them, but they practice BS on us and not everybody else.
This is not a fluke. This is policy. This is why we stopped arguing with them. It's not a misunderstanding. They want you talking around and around and talking in circles as if there's some breakdown of communication. There ain't no damn breakdown in communication. This is their policy. This is their agenda. When we show up, they're not trying to defeat Republicans. They're trying to defeat us. And they are resorting to every duplicitous, deceptive, skullduggerous, underhanded, devious psychological ploy that they can imagine, to the point that it has become insulting to the intelligence. There's only one thing they're consistent about, is not doing what you told them to do. Now that they're consistent about. Everything else, well, you know, they playing dumb. They're dumb right up until they heard your words. Now, when they go talk to other people, it never happens that way. When they talk to other folk, all of a sudden, they ain't talking stupid. They get right to what them people want.
Oh yeah, I can even hear the language, even when they're around other groups. Like you can hear them say what they're going to specifically do for them. They give them dollar amounts. They give them plans on what to do. When it's us, it's like, you know what? We hear you, we see you, and you know we're going to have to talk about it. To get with the commission, we have to have X amount of people in office. Like whoa. When you were over there with Jose and over there with Mr. Wong over there, you were talking about breaking them dollars in specifics, and you're not even in power. You're doing that right now in front of my face. But when you come to me, it's like, you need the whole world to do something for me. And that's not going to fly.
Brother, they haven't even tried to put a down payment on it. Just understand that even if you don't like the $10 trillion, $20 trillion number for reparations, you sitting up here giving hundreds of billions of dollars overseas. They haven't even tried to put a damn payment on it. Not even a down payment. What that's showing you is our goal is to get you to vote for us, and we do absolutely nothing for you. As a matter of fact, we undermine you. We'll bring over these Somalians and make sure they papered up. We'll bring over the Somalians and we're going to put them on a government program. And I want to remind you all these refugees, isn't this all very interesting? The American social order never gave us our 40 acres and a mule, but whenever they bring over these refugees, they immediately got a government program. Now, Gavin Newsom told you that we can't have a Freedmen's Bureau or a Freedmen's Bank. And those are two separate things. So they tell you and me that we can't have a Freedmen's Bureau, but there's a refugee program that has direct financial contribution. Let me go ahead and kick this back for y'all just a few moments here. We go back to the Vietnam War. And America goes over to Vietnam. It goes about as well as you can possibly expect. Next thing you know, they bring over a bunch of Vietnamese folk to America. And to show you that this is nothing new, people. Civil Rights Act of 65, 69. And next thing you know, the 70s show up and they're bringing over a bunch of Vietnamese refugees. And where do they drop them off at? Do they drop them off where the white folk are? Hell no, they drop them off in New Orleans. A massive number of Vietnamese dropped off not in the white neighborhoods now, right in New Orleans. So if you thought Joe Biden was breaking new ground, no, he wasn't. This has always been the policy. When they come from Mexico, drop them in the black neighborhood. All of us, the local liquor stores, the Arabs, Lebanese, Lebanese or Syrian or, refugees from where? Oman?
Armenians.
We got them all over Shreveport. So as soon as they got off the damn plane, they got a liquor license. So the black folk here don't have one. How the hell is it you just got off a damn plane and you got one? How the hell can that be? Here come the Ukrainians. Isn't that very amazing? Now, then here come the Somalians. Okay, the Somalians. Oh, now for the Vietnamese, we're going to drop you all in New Orleans. You got refugee assistance, and we're going to make sure you get set up for shrimp farming. Well, because, we wanted to choose, we wanted them to be self-sufficient, so we wanted them to choose something they were familiar with. Okay, but what I'm saying is that you gave them seed capital and made sure they were set up. They didn't come over here with nothing. They didn't come over here with the ability to do that. You helped give them that other part right there. We sitting right here. We haven't gotten that yet. So they bring these refugees over here and then set them up with direct government assistance. Here come the Somalians. Basically, that little damn scam they running is part of the damn state budget in Minnesota.
Yep.
They have politicians in Minnesota helping walk these people through it, set them up, shepherd them through it, and then running cover and interference for them when the feds show up. The feds showed up, and here comes the damn governor. Hands off my Somalis. They did a damn thing like that for us. They set these people up with direct economic benefits, people. That's why I'm giving y'all a direct example. So if somebody wants to argue with you, I've already told you what you got to say. Just repeat my words. You can't argue with it. They didn't have to get, this is direct government programs, and they've leapfrogged the foundational community, leapfrogged you. It's like, okay, really? Now, how is it you ain't talked to any of us? How did you leapfrog? How was it he just got off a plane and he leapfrogged us? How was that possible? And then they'll tell you these folks is working hard. It's like, okay, wait a minute. We didn't know that was up for grabs. When was that a thing? It was a thing when they got here. Yeah, as soon as they got here, it was. And now you sitting up here knocking on the door, talking about, okay, hey, let me get some of that over there right there. Okay, what do I got to do to get that contract? Oh, it's not available. It's not new, people. It is not new. This is policy. I'll let you have the last word.
Not much, man. I just want the family to be safe out there. Watch out for those fake Black Panthers that are out there. It's all just for show, Jason. It's not. They're not the real thing. Just let you know.
Thank you for giving us a call here tonight. Let me see if we can get Nene up here on Zoom for me right quick. Let me see if we can get Nene up here on Zoom. Yeah, folks, I don't want you to be deceived about any of this. Don't be deceived. They get direct benefits, so don't you get shy or coy about that. They know what they're doing. Okay, we got Nene up here on Zoom, or at least I think I do. Nene, I just need you to make sure you have your camera and microphone turned on for me so that there's no trolling. Don't worry, YouTube is not going to see you. The only one who'll see me is the host, but I just want to make sure there's no trolling issues. So, Nene, I'll give you 5 seconds. Make sure you have your camera turned on, or we're going to have to move on. Nene, I can give you 3 more seconds. Make sure you have your camera turned on, or we have to move on. Nene, I can give you 1 more second here, then we're going to have to move on.
Man,
there you go, Nene.
How you gonna do me like that, though? That's fucked up. No, damn.
Do you like that, though? Okay, Nene.
All respect due to the gods, man. Okay.
One is on your mind, Nene, such as it is.
It's time for us to start being independent voters.
Okay.
We must do it, brother.
Okay.
I've had so many people who I love who respected me, who was like, we should be independent voters. And I think that it's a time that we start thinking that way, like really strongly thinking that way. And I'm like, just given right now how things are going. I've called you before.
Yes,
I've called before. You can see
she's a little more sober than she usually is. So.
Oh, fuck you then.
Just a little more sober than usual.
And first of all, don't talk shit. I ain't seen your face yet.
Okay.
Get off my phone!
Okay. Yeah. Nene calls me after she gets into something. She snorts something, she drinks something, and y'all know how it is. Folks get inebriated and they first order of business start dialing. I'm high, I'm drunk. Who can I call? The kinfolk don't answer the phone. Their kinfolk don't answer the phone because they're like, oh, hell, she calling us. And yeah. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I want y'all to understand. They living lovely over there. They living lavish. They're over there living lavish. If you want to know how the 2024 election turned out for Kamala Harris, she's like, hey, nigga, I'm going to Disneyland. Right after I go buy an $8 million mansion. People, you don't get that from no damn book deal. That book she sold didn't sell enough copies to do this right here. No! Welcome to America, the most corrupt government money can buy. You're the ones who pay the bills. You do the real work. You pay the real taxes. You pay the real bills. These folks sitting over there, ain't no bills for them. Ain't nothing for them. They make sure they are set up lovely when they get done. And then this heifer has the nerve to be talking about running again in 2028. And not because she did such a great job. She's just hoping that you dislike Trump enough in 2028 that, okay, bring the old hoe back. And has she changed anything? Man, she's only changed her address. That's the only thing she changed was her address. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again here. We got one brother over here on Zoom with us here tonight. Let me see if we can get one brother up here right quick. All right, one brother, what's on your mind?
B1, sir. Good evening to the family. Thank you for shedding light on multiple issues here and for telling the truth about all these organizations, from obviously the Democrats and Republicans all the way to these organizations at these campuses. I'm just confused as usual with, I guess, why they think they can still hoodwink us on certain issues. Like, when going to the Democrats, are they pretending not to get it? Do they think that they're going to be able to give us the okie doke again, or is it just them deluding themselves?
Okay, well, remember the old saying: they have no permanent friends, they have no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Their interest is retaining power and control and giving us nothing. So that is the interest. That is the priority. That's the agenda. So when these things occur, what they're doing is seeing if they can remix the formula. That's all. Okay, the previous formula, you've either developed an immunity to it or you now recognize it for what it is. Regardless, the bottom line is there are not enough people falling for it anymore. So every 2 to 4 years they come back, and the civil rights generation, they fell for it pretty consistently. Now they're tracking the numbers and it's starting to fall away. And it's not getting any better. At first, they attempted to live in denial and say it was just a fluke, and eventually y'all get out the streets and get back to picking the cotton. Well, now what they're now conceding is that's not going to happen. They're now officially conceding what I told you all a decade ago. It's going to take them a while before they finally admit it. And even then, they're not really saying it right now. They're saying it in a roundabout way, indirectly. But they're now, it is starting to come to concede, damn it, it's not working. And this is the new normal. But I also told you all, they're not going to pivot and just spin on a dime and say, okay, let's do the right thing. They're like, okay, let's get back in the kitchen and see if we can tweak the recipe a little bit. The old recipe doesn't work. Let's just see if we can tweak it some. A little sugar, a little paprika, a little cayenne pepper. Let's see if we can do something to tweak this recipe to get it to work again. Not throw this out and you need to set this restaurant up to make something new. Let's just tweak the formula. That's what's happening. That's what you're seeing going on right now. And beforehand, what they were thinking before, the goal right now is not to get the majority. It's because it's not a majority that's flipped on them, but you have reached a critical mass of people who have fallen away. 2 decades ago, I told you all about that study that very clearly said that. I told you about this decades ago, which is why I can come back to it here now, because we're strategists. We're being strategic. That once 10% of a society adopts something, it's practically a numerical inevitability that the majority will. Once you hit that 10%, that's the tipping point. I'd always assumed that, but once I saw that study, I'm like, okay, that confirms it. Well, we crossed that 10% a while ago. However, the media and the political establishment have been hell-bent to try to deceive us and convince us that we didn't, that it didn't matter. Now they're finally slowly, begrudgingly conceding, y'all did. Yeah, it changed. So now they're like, okay, this is white supremacy is doing what it always does. Okay, this is the new reality. What do we do in the face of this? So their think tanks get to work and their consultants get to work and they start putting out their papers because that's an industry. There's a whole industry in consulting for the Democrats and Republicans. That's a whole industry. So their little consultants start clunking their heads together and this is what they came up with. Hey, in the 60s, we told you that black folk were mad because they told you what the problem was and you said you were going to fix it and then you didn't do anything. So stop telling them you're going to fix anything. Just tell them you sympathize with them. Fast forward 5 decades and the civil rights generation is dying out. And we like, yeah, we see the trick bag y'all been running. It's tangibles or we're bowing out. Now they're saying, okay, tell them that you understand exactly what's wrong. Tell them that small talk and indirect talk won't do. Tell them that you understand they need concrete tangibles. Tell them that you know that the rent is too damn high and the bills are too damn high. Tell them that you see all that. In other words, the racism strategy. Tell them that you see racism. Tell them you see white supremacy. Tell them that you understand racism exists and then don't do nothing. Tell them that you see it, but don't do anything about it. Make them feel like they're heard. With the civil rights generation, make them feel that they're seen. They're not invisible. We don't want them to be seen. We want an effect. Well, tell them that you hear them. Tell them, I get it. Hey, this is exactly what you're talking about, brother. Isn't it? And then when it's time to get to the getting talk, don't say anything. Or at least talk about something indirect. That's going to be tough on them because we've been training the people to become very specific. And that's where they're going to run into trouble. They're going to try to hit you with the vague talk, and we're going to hit them with the specificity. They're not ready for that. They're not ready for that. Everybody needs to get gamed up. When they come to y'all with the vague stuff, you say, no, I want specifics. And then they're going to start telling you, well, we can do something for your diabetes medication. It's going to watch. When you start demanding specifics, they're going to try to talk like they feel you, but once you demand that specific, it'll sound like the same old garbage. So that's the next round that's coming up now. They're trying to deal with this 25-30% that's fallen away. How do we get them back on board? How do we deceive them and trick them? Whatever we got to do. How do we get them back in check? Because you see, that represents an erosion that's going to keep growing. Hell, because when you're 10%, 25%. And I think right now we're at least a third of the situation. Well, that has an effect on the other 60%. That's going to have an effect on them. Subcultures are what steer cultures. So that's what they're dealing with now. So it's not that they don't see it. They do see it. They're desperately trying to figure out, how do we tweak this recipe to get over on them again for a generation? Because they don't want to just do it for 1 or 2 years. They want to get the generation.
You said use an analogy of they want to tweak the recipe without being able to throw out the whole kitchen and have a new one. Could they even survive doing that? Or is the name of the game?
Yes, I mean, that's politics. That's the whole thing. That's what they did the whole time after antebellum slavery and everything else. We've been in this constant thing where from Lincoln going forward, everything's been about keeping us quiet, keeping us docile, and okay, what do we got to tell you all to keep you coming back to the ballot box and keep supporting us while nothing really changes? And then when they do things, it seems like it's changed. Okay, we're going to desegregate things. And it's like, all right, and at the end of the day, did our socioeconomic situation change? No. So everything has been about, from time to time, you have to tweak and retweak the formula. I'll let you have the last word.
Just to the post that you made that got a lot of people in their feelings, do you think that kind of response, them kind of seemingly encouraging these organizations like Kamala Harris's organizations, AKs and whatnot, do you think that the Democrats, or those who are obviously essentially the same thing, see that as a positive response, that people are encouraging it in that way?
No, these are their operatives. These are their operatives. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and show you all exactly what I mean real quick, because these are just their operatives. And because I talked about this before already, actually. What's her name? Congressman Ayanna Pressley. This is a sitting congresswoman who shared a post from that LGBT tether jackass, what's his name, on Twitter. And I was pointing it out to him. It's like, yeah, this is what they're doing, man. They're sitting up here boosting their shills and their bootlicks. Yeah, let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen for you all right quick so you can see it. And for those of you who are not following the Foundational Black Authority on Twitter, what are you doing? This is why you're behind. But yeah, this is her. I put up a link from her Facebook. Now, she's sharing a post from that dude. He has no real following, but he's always trolling us. So he works directly with them. While they tried to pretend to you all that they didn't think we existed. These are their operatives. They want you to believe that these are grassroots people. Oh, I'm not a politician. I'm not a shill. I'm not paid by anybody. Of course they are. These are their flunkies. This is their job. They get paid to go around and do this garbage. It hasn't been working, so now the congresswoman has to come out and do her own dirty work. She's got to come out and do her own dirty work and post his stuff because he can't get the general public to do it naturally. We can get the general public to do it organically. They can't get their shills to do it naturally. They're not catching on. Remember during Trayvon Martin, they were talking about the new civil rights leaders. Remember I told y'all, well, you might not have been here at that time, but a decade ago, I pointed out to everybody when they were putting on the magazine talking about the new civil rights leaders and none of them around. Remember they had DeRay McKesson in them. Does anybody even remember DeRay McKesson today?
Nigga, what?
Does anybody even remember DeRay McKesson today? And all the rest of them, those of y'all who were riding with me 13 years ago, when they did that cover, and I pointed out to you all then so that you'd remember, hey, there will be a review where any of them, Nessa, any of them folk that they were trying to boost, none of them, y'all don't even know who they are today. And those of you who remember, you ain't heard from them in forever. We're bigger and stronger than we ever been. Yeah, you start feeling it, I'll be damned. Yeah, it was all a big setup. These are your operatives. They're hooked up with y'all, and their job is to manufacture dissent and make it seem like they're the vanguard when in reality they're your puppets. And their answer to everything will be, and at the end of the day, vote Democrat. And that's what they're going to say. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if we can get Kansas up here on Zoom for me right quick. Let me see if we can get Kansas up here on Zoom. All right, Kansas, and what is on your mind? Unmute yourself. Lower left-hand corner of the screen, the microphone icon. There you go.
Thank you. Hey, Jason. Yes, I'm calling out of Fargo, North Dakota. I'm calling because I can tell by everything that has been going on, the Somali community, as well as just people from the diaspora in general, they are starting to get very hostile and upset with Black people. And at the end of the day, I think that they need to realize that a lot of this they brought on themselves. The assimilation that they have done when they came over here, trying to put themselves in this position to where they think that they are better than us. Now they are seeing there's a large, of course, Minnesota's just, a state over, but even in North Dakota, there used to be a company organization called Lutheran Social Services, and they had people that were immigrants come from all over. But primarily, when I moved here 12 years ago, they were from Africa, different parts of Africa. And they, like, when I moved here, I would find it strange. Like, I would see people that I knew, I could clearly tell were from Africa. They'd be in new vehicles. But, like, they'd be, like, wrecked on the side. Or you'll see them in Walmart with, like, a basket full of new stuff. They just moved here. Mind you, I, migrated from Kansas to North Dakota. So, of course, that migration, I funded that. I moved here. I, created that new journey for myself and my sons. When they came here, they completely had funded everything was funded for them. They got large lump sums per person. I'm talking $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, they've been running this scam. Even when you question them, are these folk acting like they came over here and got a job washing dishes and then everything? Next thing, no, that they came over here and got financed. You don't come all the way across the ocean on a maybe. That would be a death sentence. Just like you would never go somewhere else if you didn't have funding. They didn't come here because they didn't have funding. They came here because they were told by their cousins or whoever who are already here, oh, don't worry, we got the hustle set up for it. We got the scam set up for it. And we got some white folk down there in City Hall, the state building, that gave us a program specifically for that. I need you all to understand, because this is blown up into such an issue, because it used to be relegated to places like, Texas, California, New York, and then it blew out to Florida and then Georgia, and now it's gone pandemic everywhere in America. But folks, the illegals, there's a bunch of white people in government and white people in corporations, but right now we're going to talk about the government, who are bringing them over here. The illegals are a part of their program and their system. Well, Jason, what do you mean? Let me go ahead and remind you all about the school systems. You talk about the National Association of Educators. They don't give a damn where the child comes from, as long as he's enrolled in the school, because your school's funding depends on how many students are in it. For those of you who did not know, this is anywhere you are in America, your school's funding depends on how many people, how many students are enrolled at that school. So the teachers union has a vested interest in getting that head count however they can get it. So if the kids are refugees or whatever, it don't matter. Illegals, whatever, put them in a mobile home and get them enrolled. Because that's how they get their money to fund their school. If you want your school to be on the chopping block, that's very easy. Let the head count drop, which is what you were seeing 20 years ago. 20 years ago, they were closing a bunch of schools in America. Head count was dropping. Next thing you know, here come a wave of illegals. Now, head count back up again. Matter of fact, we got to build some new schools. So that is the government directly. I'm not talking about the federal government. I mean your local government. A lot of y'all think they conservatives and stuff. Nonsense. That's your local government directly working to do that. I'm not talking about in blue states. I'm talking about in your reddest of red states. I'm talking about in your KKK states. That's what they've been doing and are doing right now. Now let's move this on to what you were talking about. People, a lot of this money comes from the feds, remember? Just like your school funding. So you see, you go to the Fed for the ask, you just need a reason for the ask. Well, the reason for the ask for the schools is, well, don't you see all these kids over here? Don't ask where they're from now, but don't you see them? Okay, well, in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, hey, don't you see these refugees over here? Don't ask why they're here, though. But don't you see them? We need a program for this. So some of that government money now is, for decades now, you all have seen Matthew Lesko. You can go look him up. When I was a kid, Matthew Lesko, he was the guy who made the great, big, huge, thick book of government programs and government grants and loans. He was, for those of you who don't remember, Matthew Lesko, you can go look him up. For those of you who are old enough, you remember he used to be at like late night infomercials and things like that, but he had a book. He was on Oprah once, as a matter of fact. He had a book. He's a white dude, really skinny, wearing glasses, real Poindexter looking. That was his shtick. But question mark suit like the damn Riddler. But I don't think he's dead yet. I mean, I think he's still alive. I don't think he's dead. But he wrote, it was a great, big, huge, thick book. By huge, I mean, if you hit somebody over the head, you'd kill them. It was like 2 telephone books thick. If you went down to your library, you could see it if you get it in hardcover. So it's this huge, thick book that he wrote, that he made, just basically compiling every government program and department for a grant, loan, whatever you could think of. That was his thing. That book was enormous back in the 80s. Not 2026. Back in the 80s, that book was enormous. It only got bigger in the 90s. Now, will someone please explain to me, why does the government have that many programs? That's not gargantuan. That's unwieldy. That's not accidental. Having this great, big, huge, convoluted infrastructure is how you hide the theft and hide the graft and hide the money, the illegal money. That's how you do it. Corporate America does the same thing. If you told Amazon that you wanted to audit them, there's a reason why the IRS has never said that. If the IRS ever sent Jeff Bezos a letter saying we want to audit your company, he would tell them fine. And they would send 10 U-Hauls full of papers to the IRS and say those are our financial records. So audit away. This has happened with corporations before. That's how they got them. The tobacco companies, when they got sued, that's what they did. So if you ever ask to look at their financials, they're literally going to have 10 Ryder trucks filled from bottom to top with papers and tell you those are our financials. So you can either take our word for it or you can go read all that. And the IRS is like, okay, if you say you don't owe anything, then you don't owe anything. We figured you'd see it our way. And that's literally what they're doing. AT&T, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, $1 trillion valuation. They're going to tell you, yeah, we'll bring 15 Ryder trucks for our financials. No problem. We'll bring it to you. You sure you couldn't have brought this on a zip drive? You sure you couldn't have did that? Nope. All paper. There it is. So, folks, if you want to know why it is that your government is just filled like this labyrinth, this gigantic maze, the maze didn't occur naturally. It was built. Every one of those twists and turns was put in there to hide something. And now you all know how it works. So when you see your local illegals or refugees show up, just understand there's a white person either in government or out of it, NGO, making money off of it. And this person you see here is their excuse for doing it. Y'all need to understand, if a black person's making $1 million, there's a white person making 10 million. Damn! That's the way that works. I already showed that to y'all on my Twitter also. I think I got that on the screen for you all. I think I did, yeah. I showed that to you all here last week, that chick up there in Minnesota getting, hundreds of millions. There you go. Yeah, there she is, ringleader of the $250 million Minnesota welfare fraud. This is a hell of a whole lot different than the welfare queen that Reagan tried out there. This chick here ain't got no TV airtime. But by the way, $250 million? She puts the old so-called welfare queen in the 80s, which by the way was a gross exaggeration, puts that to damn me shame. $250 million. Yeah, if a black person is making $1 million, there's a white person behind them pulling the strings who's making 10. And if you making 20, there's a white person behind you pulling the strings making 200. And that's what it really is. I'll let you have the last word.
And also, like, it's just I've traveled all like my whole life. We've always come to Minneapolis because we had lots of family here. So even when I lived in Kansas, we would come. And Minneapolis has always been a very cultural, city. A lot of Black people had a lot of businesses and a lot of celebrations and different things. And we always have our family reunion at, Father's Day weekend. And we would have it up here all the time. Well, with all of this money that they have received, I'm just saying, like, they don't put anything into the community. They don't put anything towards anything to do with Black people.
No, it all goes back where they came from.
Yeah, and even like Blaine, like for instance, this year when we were in Minneapolis Father's Day weekend, one of my little cousins wanted me to drop him off in Blaine, Minnesota, to go hang out with some friends. And so before we left, I just wanted to Google it because I've always known Blaine to be an area where it was, like very suburby. You didn't have kids out there that would be hanging out. Like, I didn't think so. And so I Googled it, and like literally the weekend before, there were some Somalian kids that had been caught in Sky Zone. They had been shooting at the mall. This is a small little suburban area, but they were shooting at the mall, and they had found a boy in the bathroom, 15 years old, with a magazine in the socks. Sky Zone got them special socks that you have to wear. But they felt, and it's not funny, but I'm saying, like, that's the kind of things that our little Black boys are the ones that they look at and point the finger at and say they put us in that box. But with the delineation that's going on, we are starting to make that be known. But if we didn't have delineation, they would just count that as another little Black boy that was shooting. So like they have, like, I'm telling you, Brooklyn Park, baby, all that area, I'm telling you, Minnesota, Minneapolis, they a different breed. They didn't
overrun the whole damn thing with it is what they've done. And it's not accidental. This has been a plan. This is engineered. It couldn't happen accidentally. If you tried to do it by accident, it would have failed. These things require funding from the government. It requires support. Otherwise, it would just collapse. You can't have a bunch of folks show up over here in such an expensive capitalist area. They wouldn't make it at all. So no, if they're floating, it's because they held them up.
I have one question before we go, and then you can respond once you let me go. But I'm just wondering, now, when it comes to all of this that has occurred, I have my thoughts on how I feel as far as them completely blaming Governor Walz for all of this. I would like to know what you think about that, because I know that you have reported on another broadcast in regards to the Bush administration when they were in, and I've done my research. And I know a lot of it came in with their whole New World Order humanitarian efforts. But what would you say, or how would you respond to it when people automatically put it 100% on Governor Walz?
No, the thing is, it happened on his watch. So the thing broke down on his watch. And if you're the guy who's in charge, you can't demand to be in charge and then say, oh, wait a minute, I don't have nothing to do with this. So that's not the way that works. So the real thing is, yeah, it's politics. It's a bit of a gotcha. But by the same token, this is not new. So he can't plead ignorance. He's been there going on 8 years, as far as I remember. I think he wanted to run for a third term or something like that. But he's been there for a while. So it's not as if he just showed up yesterday and this happened. And that means
Right.
that, and because the thing they're getting on about is that the local media there and the television stations have been talking about this for a while. So they might be Fox stations, but they've been talking about this for a while, and his people have been kicking it back and, denying it. No, ain't no problem. It ain't no issue. So that's the real thing about it, is they've been talking about that for a while. So it's not like this is new. It's not like this just blew up. It's not like it's novel. It's just that, after losing 2024 election, it's like folks just started looking under the hood more. And like anything else, the situation has just gotten so egregious and out of hand. So, but then there's a bunch of places that's happening in California, the homeless grift that the government's running out there. I mean, they have wasted billions, damn hundreds of millions, just on that homeless scam alone that Gavin Newsom been running. That program has wasted I say wasted, it's hidden, stolen, whatever, billions of dollars. And that's not new either. So, no, you can't be in the governor's office for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and hundreds of millions of dollars is really questionable, and that doesn't sit at your feet, especially if people have been saying something. The other thing is WWE. This is what they all do there. When it's the Republicans, if there's an arms manufacturer or something like that. So it depends on what your pet grift is what it is. But no, it's at his feet. You're the governor. You are the coach of the team. Right. You asked for the job. You've been there for a while. This didn't sneak up on you. Folk been telling you. You were hoping it wouldn't blow up into a national issue. Well, it came up snake eyes. So, yes, this is at his feet. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. This is at his feet. The man who hands down the sentence has to swing the sword. Okay, well, you want credit for the good? You got to be front and center for the bad there. This was something you were told about. This isn't something that snuck up on you. The media up there in Minnesota been talking about this. He been telling them wasn't no issue and, y'all just haters and this, that, and the other. So no. If you do that, well, that's the way it goes. So his pet Somalians got him in a bind. The other thing was she said, you don't see them helping anybody in the community. Well, no, because they're helping themselves. Remember, Ilhan Omar is up there telling the Somalians about our country. When she says our country, she means Somalia, not America. Yeah, they get the money and then they send it to Somalia. Ben Shapiro gets the money and sends it to Israel. Ilhan Omar gets the money and sends it to Somalia. The problem is the MAGA white supremacists are still smoking the crack pipe and telling themselves they're going to shut this down by themselves. Ain't going to happen. There's not enough for you and you're not able to. You're spread too thin. So you can complain about it all you want to, but you can't actually stop it. So they have some serious choices to make, although I have very little confidence they will make the intelligent one. That one's beyond them, but yeah, they got choices to make. And then again, so do the Democrats. They have choices to make also. They can keep playing dumb and hoping for the best and hoping that people are just so sore on Trump that they play this ping pong game. Oh, the Democrats screw up. You vote for the Republicans. I'll be damned. The Republicans did the same thing the Democrats did. Okay, let's vote for the Democrats. Every time you go to the polls, they keep telling you, well, weren't things worse with the other guy? They don't get to say, weren't things better with me? It's never, weren't they better with me? It's, well, weren't things worse with the other guy? Oh, weren't things worse with him? Weren't things worse with George W. Bush? Well, weren't things worse with Obama? Well, weren't things worse with Trump? Well, weren't things worse with Biden? And here comes Kamala Harris. Well, weren't things worse under Trump too? That's the game they're playing. This ping pong game where the Republicans get the ball for a few years, then the Democrats get the ball for a few years, and then the Democrats smack it back to the Republicans and they get the ball for a few years, and the Republicans smack it back and the Democrats get the ball for a few years. And this is the American uniparty system. With the corporations, as you all know, playing both sides against the middle because the corporations own both sides. They use the politicians to keep the electorate docile, but the corporations play both sides. Mark Zuckerberg backs Democrats and Republicans. He shows up with Obama, shows up with Biden, and then all of them showed up with Trump. And that's the American social order today. With their sights and their goal being firmly set on maintaining the status quo. That there'll be some minor things that change around the edges, but as far as systemic, concrete, revolutionary change, oh, not that. Yeah, we make sure that doesn't occur. But beyond that, no. So, folks, slowly but surely, the media and the Democrats and the political system are conceding that everything we've been saying for the longest time, they are slowly breaking down inch by inch and conceding that, yeah, this is the new normal. No, it's not a fluke. We are not the civil rights generation, and you won't get away with the same bait and switch lying you've been doing. That won't work anymore. And yes, they are dreading an immortal fear of the day they have to come back and talk to us. They're scared to death because they're trying to figure out, how do we frame this in a way in which we did something? And Hakeem Jeffries is already showing that, well, can we give you some health care? And we're just going to say, nah, can we give you 4 more years of Trump? Why don't we let J.D. Vance run things for a few years? Okay, since you want to play stupid, well, the Republicans ain't doing nothing for you either. Well, we're just sitting back. We're going to let the both of you devour each other, although it seems like right now the Republicans are a bit more voracious than you. So, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and let them run it however they going to run it. They out here in the streets. They shooting folk. They taking over cities. They kidnapping foreign leaders. They trying to indict every Democrat walk-in. They said, damn the Constitution. It's like, well, they threw out the Constitution with us hundreds of years ago. The Constitution has been zero effect or protection for us since its inception. So you see, you can't tell me that we're in a constitutional crisis when it was the Democrats along with the Republicans who excluded us from that Constitution. So you can't scare me by saying I won't have constitutional protection. I've never had constitutional protection, which is exactly the problem. So you can't threaten me with that. And this is not accidental. We're going to go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again right quick. We got AT over here on Zoom. All right, AT, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? Good broadcast, by the way. Do you think with people like Tucker Carlson mentioning the term foundational Black Americans that this midterm election cycle, they'll actually sit down with members of the New Back Media and kind of let you guys kind of like tell the nation what our demands are?
No. No. Let's just cut to the chase. No, that's not going to happen. Brother, they already know. The reason that they don't talk to us isn't because they don't know what we're going to say. They don't talk to us because they know exactly what we're going to say. Tucker Carlson sat there and showed you all. Everybody already knows the platform. They already know the platform. They already know our points. They already know what our topics are. They already know what we want. No one is ignorant. This whole game of playing about acting stupid and they don't know what the FBA is and what do y'all really want and are y'all really voting for Trump and lies the whole damn. Everybody knows what it is. The game they play is playing dumb and pretending that they don't till their back is against a wall. And in their case, brother, they can't really afford to acknowledge it, because it's going to naturally lead into the very next sentence. And their entire existence is focused around preventing that next sentence from occurring. Once you concede that we are a thing, which has already been because you've been complaining in the background about us, once you concede that you have to talk to us, the very next statement is going to be, now, what are you specifically going to do for us? Now that we finally have you stopping playing stupid, now about that, what are you going to specifically do for us? No rising tide lifting all boats, not you and the immigrants. No, specifically for us. Brother, their entire existence is centered on preventing that question from being asked. Kamala Harris's disastrous run for president back in 2020 was proof that they don't want to go on the record with those things because those things go viral. They don't want that sound bite. They don't want that sound clip. She is dogged by that to this very day. Well, Jason, why is she kicking her heels back in California? She's trying to lay low to let the stink get off. They're trying to get the stink off of her before she reintroduces herself because you're reeking. So everything is about, let me get the stink off of me. And then see if we can come back when I'm a little less smelly. But they know what you're going to say right after you say FBA. They know what you're going to say. You want to talk about them tangibles. And you ain't there talking about, okay, we'll throw a few dollars for a refund check. No, we want to talk about specifics. We mean world-changing amounts. We mean major investment. We're talking about that. They don't want to discuss that because now you sound like the white folk. You sound like the Jews. You sound like the Asians. You sound like the Arabs. You sound like all these other people that they don't talk stupid to. And now the other folk are like, wait now, hold on. Because your intentions with that investment are different than these other folk. These other folk want to build into the status quo and you want to overturn it. So their entire existence is focused on preventing that conversation from occurring. They've adopted the strategy, it won't work. Spoiler alert, it won't work. But their strategy now is to try to get defectors. That's what I was explaining to one brother. Their strategy now is to see if they can get defectors. Well, let's stall for time. Tell them that we are addressing the issues. Adopt some of their language. Adopt some of it. So that some of the weaker people among their group would be like, well, I mean, you see, they say tangible. Jason, just we ain't really gonna get reparations no way. So it's just, what we can get. I mean, Karen Bass talking about tangibles, and see if they can start eroding from your side. We've been eroding from them. Now they want to see if they can start eroding on yours. It's a long process. It's like grating cheese, but let's see if we can start eroding from you. And that's what's going on now. Thank you for giving us a call. Yeah, their strategy here is to just incrementally try to wear you down. Well, if there are weak members among their group, weak members among their movement, let's use a little language and see if we can confuse them, bamboozle them, peel some of them off. And then what do you know? We're back to status quo again. We're back there. Because I got to tell some of y'all, as cynical as this is going to sound, I mean, for folks, that stalling tactic, the problem is time keeps slipping into the future. Time keeps slipping into the future, and for some folks, they getting older, so that talk about, we can help get you a break on your diabetes medication. Some of the folks who were with us 10 years ago, they wasn't worried about diabetes medication, but some folks, as they've gotten older, now that started to become, Jason, I do understand, this revolutionary change, but my sciatica be acting up sometimes, and all of a sudden they start looking at their prescriptions, and some of the folk who started with us, they were a little bit younger, but these people have been stalling around so long. You're like, Jason, I wasn't worried about Medicare before, but I can really use something now, You know, my Crohn's disease is messing with me. So, like I say, for some folk, it might work. For some of them. And that's why it is all the more important that we stay vigilant. Because we're not going away. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And we are going to continue pushing the issue and pressing the issue. We are not going to step off the gas. We are not going to leave it alone. We're going to continue pressing. We are not going to change the statement. We are not going to change the agenda. We are going to remain uncompromising. So when I warned them back in 2016 that if they did not listen to reason, we could do this all over again in 2020 and 2024 and 2028. And they thought 2020 meant, we ain't got to listen to y'all niggas. And then they found out the best thing that could have happened to them in 2020 was letting Trump get back in that White House, because then the Democrats might be set up for 8 years for them to run. Now they're sitting around wondering if they can hold it together, because do not be deceived by a couple of governors' races. Those were nail biters. No, when you start doing the math on these things, you start realizing, no, they are still very much in a precarious situation, and the same old same ain't gonna work. The same old same is not gonna work. What they're terrified to death of is if they can't make major gains in the midterms this year, that gives them a preview of 2028. And just understand, if you think the Republicans are going to just sit still in November, you crazy as hell. Just like that red wave in 2022 didn't really pan out the way the Republicans were talking. The Democrats are worried that a blue wave might just be a blue trickle. It might just be a blue trickle. That's the result of long-term neglect. It has long-term consequences. And now they're experiencing some of those consequences. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. Just a brief reminder. Tomorrow is MLK Day, and we will be live here at the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought, as we always are. We will be live here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Time. So all of the true believers and all of the real ones will be here with us. So, as always, if you're wondering what we're going to be doing, we will be here tomorrow for that. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work at blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for contributing on Venmo, PayPal, Super Chat. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.